Shalom, Kolayim La, Yahweh Bashem Shah. What's good, Divine Citadels of GMS, and honest you, Akim. Peace and bless you, brothers and sisters that listen for the elect, Kolayim La, Yahweh Bashem Shah. And, brothers keeping the feast, the high holy days, the feast of Nicanor and Purim, the feast of lots, 3-day high holy day, started last night. And, it takes place in the 12th month of Adar, the Hebrew calendar. Right, and right after this will be the month of Nisan, going into the Pesach, which brothers will be keeping at, I believe it's March 24th, right, or the 23rd. I have to check again, right? But these are the high holy days, man, through the power of Yahweh Bashem Shah, man. Brothers, we rehearse the righteous acts, man, to the best of our ability, of course, right? Yeah, I believe the Pesach is March 23rd, right, for you brothers and sisters that's keeping it, right? Some brothers may keep it slightly a different day. And the scripture says, let no man therefore judge you in such things, but the most important thing is that we're keeping it, man. Right? And we know that the feast of Nicanor, for who you brothers and sisters don't know about that high holy day in the Apocrypha, he was a Syrian Greek general that was set up by even going back to Antiochus Epiphanes, but also his nephew. I think it was King Demetrius Soter I, right, who had set him up due to the Hellenistic priest at that time, Alcimus, man, who wanted to get rid of the Maccabees. Because Judas Maccabees was a hammer. He was raised in hell, man. Because why they destroyed the temple, and it was due to the Maccabees and his brethren, Judas Maccabees, Simon, Jonathan. Okay, they restored the temple. That's what Hanukkah's about. But not too long right after that, you had Nicanor, due to provocations of this guy named Alcimus, because he loved the Hellenistic way of life. He went to King Demetrius through certain gifts and said, yo, get rid of the Maccabees, man. And this is where Nicanor, who at first was at peace with Judas Maccabees, became his deadly adversary, man. And let me see if I can get that. That's just a brief summary. Okay, it's a lot of history in the book of Maccabees, a lot of history in the Apocrypha in general, man. But it's important history because it goes to how our people became Hellenized, man. But let me jump straight to the point. Second Maccabees, I believe it's the 14th chapter. Okay, and I'm gonna get a precept in the book of Nehemiah. All right, let's get Second Maccabees chapter 14, verse all right, so he comes in. Was it Second Maccabees 14:30? Notwithstanding, when Maccabees saw that Nicanor became to be churlish unto him, and that he entreated him more roughly than he was wont, because of Alcimus the sellout wanted the Maccabees to be done away with. So he went to King Demetrius, who commanded Nicanor to get rid of the Maccabees, man. Right? So they were Uncle Toms amongst our people back then. He entreated more roughly than he wont, perceiving that such sour behavior came not of good. He gathered together not of a few of his men and withdraw himself from Nicanor. But the other, knowing that he was notable, prevented by Judas' policy, came into the great and holy temple and commanded the priests that they were offering their usual sacrifices to deliver him the man. And when they swear they could not tell where the man was whom he sought, he stretched out his hand toward the temple, whom Nicanor. So he's giving out a threat, a violent threat. He said, and made an oath in this manner: if he would not deliver me Judas as a prisoner, I will lay this temple of the Most High, even with the ground, and I will break down the altar and erect a notable temple unto Bacchus. Man. After these words he departed. Then the priests lifted up their hands toward heaven and besought him that was ever a defender of their nation, saying in this manner: Thou, O Yahweh Bashem Shah of all things, who has need of nothing, was pleased that the temple of thine habitation should be among us. Therefore now, O holy Lord of all holiness, keep this house ever undefiled, which lately was cleansed, and stop ever unrighteous mouth, man. Okay, so Nicanor gave a threat. So if you don't give up Judas Maccabees, I'm going to destroy this temple, which just got rededicated not too long before during Hanukkah, man. was a rededication of the temple. So I'm going to knock it back down, and I'm going to raise up altars unto Bacchus, the god of drunken revelry, man. Okay? So, obviously, there was another war between Nicanor and Judas Maccabees. Okay? And Judas Maccabees was a man of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. He was always praying, man. And he had a beautiful, beautiful vision. Right after this, I'm going to go into Purim. Right? Where he saw Onias, the high priest who got assassinated, came to him in a vision and raised his spirits up. And he also saw the prophet Jeremiah, who gave him a sword. But let's read that actually. Right? And he used this to inspire his men and let them know, listen, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua is with us. And he's going to bring down these heathens, man. Okay? Let's read this though. 2 Maccabees chapter 15. Verse 6. So Nicanor, in exceeding pride and haughtiness, determined to set up a public monument of his victory over Judas and them that were with him. But Maccabees had ever sure confidence that the Lord would help him. Right? And that's the spirit we all got to be in. Wherefore he exhorted his people not to fear the coming of the heathen against them, but to remember the help which in former times they had received from heaven, and now to expect the victory and aid which should come unto them from the Almighty. And so comforting them out of the law and the prophets, right? The book, man, the comforter, withal putting them in mind of battles that they won afore, he made them more cheerful. And he had stirred up their minds, he gave them charge, showing them therewithal the falsehoods of the heathen and the breach of oaths, because they were supposed to be at peace with one another. But Alcimus caused tension between them. He was an instigator, man. Thus he armed every one, not so much with defense of shields and spears, as with comfortable and good words. And besides that, he told them a dream worthy to believe, as it had been so indeed, which did not a little rejoice them. And this was his vision, that Onias, who had been high priest, a virtuous and good man, reverent in conversation, gentle in condition, well spoken also, and exercised from a child in all points of virtue, holding up his hands, prayed for the whole body of the Jews. This done in like manner, there appeared a man with gray hairs and exceeding glorious, was of a wonderful and excellent majesty. Then Onias answered, saying, This is the love of the brethren, who prayed much for the people and for the holy city, to which Jeremiah the prophet of the Most High. So this is the vision that Maccabees saw. Onias the high priest and Jeremiah the prophet came to him. Whereupon Jeremiah, holding forth his right hand, gave to Judas a sword of gold, and giving it, spake thus, Take this holy sword, a gift from the Most High, with the which thou shalt wound the adversaries. Alright, so it says, thus being comforted by the words of Judas, which were very good, able to stir them up to valor and to encourage the hearts of the young men, they determined not to pitch camp, but to courageously set upon them, and to manfully to try the matter by conflict, because the city and the sanctuary and the temple were in danger. So he raised up their spirits with that vision. And what happened? They fought the war. And what happened? This is the result. 30, verse 30. And Judas, who was ever the chief defender of the citizens, both in body and mind, who continued his love toward his countrymen in all his life, commanded. So they found Nicanor's body. Let's read verse 28. Now when the battle was done, returning again with joy, they knew that Nicanor lay dead in his harness, which he did. Okay, verse 30. Continue on. Commanded to strike. So after they found Nicanor's body in the war, he was dead. They commanded to strike off Nicanor's head and his hand with his shoulder, and to bring him to Jerusalem. So when he was there and called them of his nation together, he set the priests before the altar. He set for them that were of the tower, and showed them the vile Nicanor's head and the hand of that blasphemer, which with proud brags he had stretched out against the holy temple of the Almighty. And when he had cut off the tongue of that ungodly Nicanor, he commanded that they should give it to the pieces and to the fowls, and to hang up the reward of this madness before the temple, man. So it said what? So every man prays toward the heaven, the glorious Lord, saying, Blessed be he that hath kept his own place undefiled, man. Okay? So what? They celebrated that glorious victory, man. Alright, I'm going to read to verse 36. And he hanged also Nicanor's head upon the tower, an evident and manifest sign unto all of the help of the Lord, and they ordained with all common decree in no case to let that day pass without solemnity, but to celebrate the 13th day of the 12th month, which in the Syrian tongue is called Adar, the day before Mordecai's day, which is what, Purim. So you celebrate the feast of Nicanor before the day before Purim, man. Okay? And that's how that high holy day came into place. All right, now let me read the book of Nehemiah chapter 9 verse 27 actually. So this is important history, man, and this is why these devils took the Apocrypha out. Okay, because when you go into Purim, you learn about Haman, who was a Macedonian, but his bloodline went back to King Agag, an Edomite. Let you know that the Edomites was up there in Macedon. And when you go through that history, that story, his whole goal was to take the kingdom from the Persians to the Macedonians, man. Okay? That's in there, man. Alright, I think that's what Edition of Esther's, which you have to read that before you read the actual story. Esther in the Bible. You have to read that in the Apocrypha, the Edition of Esther. Right, that's in the 16th chapter. But let's read Nehemiah in the 9th chapter, though. I want to get this precept before I give a brief summary on Purim, man. Okay. It's also a beautiful story and deliverance from our deadly adversaries, man. These Edomites, man. And all the nations that were round about us, that wanted to destroy us. Okay, let me get that Nehemiah chapter 9, verse, let's see, 24, 27. All right, it says, therefore thou deliverest them into the hands of their enemies. All right. Let me see. Let's read Nehemiah. So anytime we went off, the Most High deliver us into the hands of our enemies. We know that. That's why we're in captivity today. It says, who vexed them, and in time of their trouble, when they cried unto thee, thou heardest them from heaven, and according to thy manifold mercies, thou gavest them saviors, who saved them out of the hand of their enemies, man. So we went into Nicanor, which was Judas Maccabees and his brethren, were the saviors of that time. Okay, the carpenters of that time, man. Now we're going into this story right here. During the time of the Persian and Mede Empire, you had Haman or Haman wanted to destroy the Jews, man. Right, he was second to King Xerxes at that time, and he just got promoted, and Mordecai did not bow to him. So he said, you know what? Not only I want to destroy Mordecai, I want to destroy all of his people, man, because their ways are just vastly different from everybody else in the empire. All right. And we know the story about Esther, how she got promoted. There was a beauty contest because the queen at that time, Vashti, didn't want to see the king. She was proud. She was a feminist, man, and she got removed. But Esther, due to the guidance under Mordecai, who was his cousin, he treated her like his own daughter, told her not to disclose her nationality. She kept it hidden. Okay. And we know after Haman got the king to sign off on that decree to kill all the Jews throughout the empire, people went into a fast, man. All right. Now let me get some precepts, actually. Let's get Esther, Edition of Esther, the 13th chapter. Because when you read Edition of Esther, the 11th chapter, he had a vision of the two dragons, which is really going into Jacob and Esau, man. All right. Let's read that, actually, man. Edition of Esther, the 11th chapter. All right. It says, going to Mordecai. I'm going to jump straight to the point. It says, you're going to Mordecai backstory of the tribe of Benjamin. It says, he was also one of the captives which Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, carried from Jerusalem with Jeconiah, king of Judea. And this was his dream. Behold, a noise of tumult with thunder and earthquakes and uproar in the land. And behold, two dragons came forth ready to fight, and their cry was great. And that at their cry all nations were prepared to battle, that they might fight against the righteous people. And lo, a day of darkness and obscurity, tribulation and anguish, affliction and great uproar upon earth. And the whole righteous nation was troubled, fearing at their own evils, and were ready to perish. The scripture says what? Matter of fact, before we read verse 9, let's go to his prayer, addition to Esther chapter 13. All right. After Mordecai heard the decree, this is what he said. And Esther also has a beautiful prayer in the next chapter as well. All right. But this is his prayer. Addition to Esther chapter 13, verse 8. Then Mordecai stood upon all the works of the Lord and made his prayer unto him, saying, O Yahweh Shem Shah, Lord, King Almighty, for the whole world is in thy power. And if thou hast appointed to save Israel, there is no man that can gainsay thee. For thou hast made heaven and earth, and all the wondrous things under the heaven. Thou art the Lord of all things, and there is no man that can resist thee, which art the Lord. Thou knowest all things, and thou knowest, Lord, that it was neither contempt, nor pride, nor any desire of glory that I did not bow down to proud Haman or Haman, who wanted to destroy us, man, because Mordecai didn't show him reverence or worship. For I have been content with goodwill of the salvation of Israel to kiss the soles of his feet. But I did this that I might not prefer the glory of man above the glory of the Most High, man. Neither will I worship any but thee, O Yahweh Shem Shah, neither will I do it in pride. And I, O Yahweh Shem Shah, power and king, spare thy people, for thy eyes are upon us to bring us to naught. Yet it desire to destroy the inheritance that have been thine from the beginning. Okay? So he wanted Yahweh Shem Shah to his prayer and show mercy and favor to us, man. Now read verse 18. It says, all Israel in like manner cried most earnestly unto the Lord, because their death was before their eyes, man. All right. Now when you jump back to this in Esther, the 11th chapter, he said what? So all Israel was in a state of mourning, weeping and mourning and fasting due to the destruction that came upon us, that deadly decree. Right? I believe throughout all 127 provinces that decree went out to exterminate all the Jews, man, due to Haman feeling disrespected by Mordecai. Haman was a Macedonian and Edomite. Okay, that's the two dragons. So that fight goes back to the ancient world, and that fight continue on till today. They have that same hatred that he had, man. Right? So let's read this in Esther, the 11th chapter. So they cried unto the Lord, and upon verse 9, that vision he had, I'm jumping back. And the whole righteous nation was troubled, fearing their own evils, and were ready to perish. Then they cried unto the Most High, and upon their cry, it was for a little fountain, and was made a great flood, even much water. And the light and the sun rose, and the lowly were exalted, and devoured the glorious. Which eventually, well, you go rest into the story. Haman set gallows up for Mordecai, man. And eventually, at that feast, you know, Esther, after she fasted and she approached the king, because if you didn't, the king didn't stick out his scepter. If you approached him and he didn't summon you, you can get put to death. But Yahweh Shem Shah changed his countenance because he rules in the kingdom of men. All right. And she told him, you know, she wants to have a feast, this, that, and the third. And she exposed Haman's plan at that feast, man. So the same gallows that Haman set up for Mordecai and the destruction he set for the Jews fell upon him and his entire household, man. All right. So calling Yahweh Shem Shah, and that's why we celebrate Purim. See? So this is important Israelite history that brothers and sisters should know, man. Triumphing over our enemies and adversaries. That's what the Pesach is also. Being delivered from bondage or Egypt. Let me read this, though, Psalms 37:28. All right, so this was a brief summary on the both high holy days, man. And this is why we rehearse it and we celebrate it each year, man. Scripture says in Psalms 37:28, it says, for Yahweh Shem Shah loveth judgment, and forsaken not his saints, who are the saints, the Israelites, those that made a covenant by sacrifice. They are preserved forever, but the seed of the wicked shall be cut off, man. Just like Haman's ass got cut off back then, all you Edomites gonna get cut off, man, eventually. Right? Because you have a perpetual hatred, man. Let me get to Psalms 141. It says, It says, it's a good chapter too. It says, verse 8, it says, but mine eyes unto thee, O Most High, the Lord, and thee is my trust. Leave not my soul destitute. Keep me from the snares which they have laid for me. Those are traps like Mordecai set, not Mordecai, Haman set for Mordecai back then. All right. And the gins of the workers of iniquity. Let the wicked, these devils, these Edomites, starting with the elite, fall into their own nets, whilst that I without escape. Right? And that's what's going to happen. This NWO that they want to set up, eventually they're going to fall into their own traps. Scripture says, every hand of the wicked shall be upon him, these laborers, man. Right? And the missile's going to rain upon him while he's eating. Right? So call him like Yahweh Bashem El Shah, man. Right? So, like I say, keeping these high holy days, rehearsing the righteous acts, man. All right? Rehearsing the righteous acts to Yahweh Bashem El Shah. In fact, let me get another precept. I think it's the Book of Lamentations, the 3rd chapter. In fact, let me get this Lamentation 3. Lamentation chapter 3, verse 24 says, Yahweh Bashem El Shah is my portion. Save my soul, therefore I will hope in him, man. All right? We hope in Yahweh Bashem El Shah, man. Right? And the scripture says, let's read verse 22. It says, it is of Yahweh Bashem El Shah's mercy that we are not consumed, because his compassions fail not, man. All right? It's his mercy we're not consumed, man. Because we have many enemies. You could read Psalms, the 83rd chapter. All these nations are enemies and adversaries, man. Every last one of them, man. They all want to cut off Jacob. We just read about Nicanor, right? He went to destroy the temple because they knew the temple was our point of connection with the Most High, man. Okay? Read about Haman. Read about what the Romans did. Destroy Jerusalem. They leveled the temple. But Yahweh Bashem El Shah set it up where what? We're the temple, man. And now we're the what? The scripture says the lively stones of 144 out of Ratzazah. The carpenters, man. And we're building, man. All right? Let me get another precept. All right, we're about to close this out with probably Yahweh Bashem El Shah. We just rehearsing the righteous acts, man. And when Babylon is destroyed, there's going to be another high holy day, man. Let me read this though. Psalms 106, verse 41. Then he gave them, this was the Most High did. It says, verse 40, therefore is the wrath of Yahweh Bashem El Shah kindled against his people, insomuch that he abhorred his own inheritance, and he gave them into the hand of the heathen. And that's why we're in captivity. And that's why all these different captivities happen, because we sin against Yahweh Bashem El Shah. And they that hated them ruled them over them. Their enemies also oppressed them, and they were brought into subjection under their hand. Many times did he deliver them, but they provoked him with their counsel and were brought low to their iniquity. Nevertheless, he regarded their affliction when he heard their cry, man. And that's what we're doing now. We're sighing and crying in captivity. And you can only cry unto him if you know his name, man. And he remembered for them his covenant and repented according to the multitude of his mercies. He made them also to be pitied of all those that carried them captives. And that's what he said. Save us, O Yahweh Bashem El Shah, power, and gather us from among the heathen, to give thanks unto thy holy name, and to triumph in thy praise, man. Call him thy Yahweh Bashem El Shah, man. And these are all these stories of deliverances. Right? We went off. The Most High punished us by giving us to the hands of these heathens. And we constantly kept crying out to him, man. And that's why the scripture says, when you read Luke 4:28, it says, since your mind went astray, you're supposed to seek him 10 times more. 10 also meaning the scripture's completion. All right? Seek him, man. So we can get the hell up out of here, man. All right? So, hopefully this lesson was edifying. Like I say, calling La Yahweh Bashem El Shah, man. For these victories, man. And out of Ratzazah, we going to get, the scripture says, the elect is going to get the victory over the beast, man, and his image and his MOTB. All right. So like that, I would say, calling La Yahweh Bashem El Shah. Shalom.